Good morning. This is Wednesday, September 2nd, which happens to be my wife's birthday. Here's a proverb that isn't from the book of Proverbs. A wise man doesn't forget his wife's birthday. We are looking at chapter 17, verse 6 of Proverbs, so let's begin. Children's children are a crown to the aged, and parents are the pride of their children. I know when I talk to grandparents that they say the grandkids make having the kids all worth, and everything they had to do with having the kids all worth it. So evidently Solomon agrees that if you are fortunate enough to live a long life, to have children and have children's children, or in many cases in my congregation even children's children's children, this is a great blessing of God. And it is better to have children. It is better to produce another generation and then another generation. And see as God's love spreads further and further down that chain. It comes back, and parents are the pride of their children. I have to tell you, I have the best parents in the world. One has gone to heaven, and then my mother married again, another great man. I should be proud of my parents, and I think every child should grow up with parents of whom they are proud. Certainly we can be proud of the Father in heaven, but it is another great blessing of God when we have parents who live in a way which is in accord with God's wisdom, and because of that, that generates in their children pride that they had such great and wonderful parents. And so, when we come to Proverbs, let's follow them. Let's give the children something to be proud about as they grow up and they say, "My dad's the best." 7. Arrogant lips are unsuited to a fool. How much worse lying lips to a ruler? So, a fool, one who seeks after the things that are not of God, the things of death, is arrogant when they try to lie to you. And often they lie in such a way, and you're thinking, how could they think they can get away with this? At what point do they figure out that we've caught on to the fact that they're fools? But they just go forward. They continue to try to carry out this idea that they're good, that nothing they do was wrong, that no foulness sticks to them, that it's always someone else's fault when bad things happen. They're arrogant, and it really doesn't work well for them, because people who watch them over time realize quickly that their words and their actions don't match. A ruler is on display even more so, and a ruler is affecting the lives of those around them, and they feel the weight of what the ruler does. And so when a ruler begins lying, begins trying to distort reality, really not good. It's not going to only be something that we can all see through, the emperor who has no clothes, right? It's going to be something which hurts the whole of society, because the ruler is continuing to seek after foolishness and not listening to the wisdom which could change their course, their behavior, and help society out. 8. This is an interesting one. A bribe is a charm to the one who gives it. Wherever he turns, he succeeds. The footnotes here in the study Bible say this is a sad commentary upon reality. There are places in our country and places like Mexico that I know of, some other places, where a bribe is expected. And sometimes when we're giving tips at the table, it's almost like a bribe for the next time. I'm going to come back here. I want to make sure that if I get this waiter or waitress again, they're going to really do a good job at my table. And so when a bribe is given, when people go up to Washington, D.C., and they give a certain amount and make sure that the politician knows, strangely enough, their business does really well. They say that something like every dollar spent in Washington, D.C. comes back in $10 of federal spending on the people who gave that money. And here Proverbs recognizes that. It says the man who's paying out these bribes is going to get back his reward. Um, Certainly dishonesty goes against God, and there's an eventual non-reward which you receive. But when it comes in this world, it is often the people who are willing to shill out some money who get special treatment and who get desirous things. 9. He who covers over an offense promotes love, but whoever repeats the matter separates close friends. Good advice. So this isn't saying that we let someone injure somebody and the injury continue. If I see a child in an abusive situation, I am a reporter, and I will report it. As should any teacher, any pastor, if they see that situation. But this is saying that sometimes someone does something wrong or something that hurts someone else, and then it's done. And you don't have to keep bringing it up, or you don't have to point it out to someone else if maybe they didn't notice it. In fact, when you cover it over, say, all right, we have forgiven you. You don't want to repeat this. You're not going to hurt the person anymore. Stop doing that. And I'm not going to bring it up to them either. So I'm going to let them continue to look at you well, and I'm going to let them forget about whatever damage you did, and I'm going to allow your relationship to return and forgiveness to happen, and this will be in the past. It will be gone. And I'll just smooth it over so that things don't get any worse. The other side to this, you repeat the matter, you start talking about it. Either someone learns about it for the first time, or you bring up an old wound and it kind of picks the scab off. They think about it. You're constantly bringing up past guilt, past sins, then it results in violence. This is a point I try to make when it comes to people attacking Southern statues. Abraham Lincoln was very wise. He wanted to cover over the sins of the South at the end of the Civil War. He said, look, you're our brothers. You're forgiven. Now we want to point to those things you did which are excellent. We're going to forget about the things that have happened which were not excellent. Let's put those past things behind. But people keep wanting to bring up those things. They look at the statues, and instead of focusing on the, this is, a great warrior. This was a person who was very loving of his family and friends, a person who loved his state. They want to go back to the past sins and dredge them up. What that's going to do is bring back the conflict. So it's better if we can kind of smooth things over, move on, start anew, think about good things. It's not that sin isn't there and sin won't occur. Sin occurs. But forgiveness also occurs. And because we have forgiveness, we don't have to hold on to these grievances. Okay, we're going to stop there for right now, and then we'll do the second video.